I'm Ellis Martin. Join me for a conversation with Chris Taylor, the president and CEO of Great Bear Resources, trading as GBR on the TSX Venture Exchange and as GTBDF in the U.S. In 2015, Great Bear entered an agreement to acquire the Dixie mining claims in Ontario's prolific Red Lake Gold Mining District, where Great Bear is now earning a 100% interest in 49 mining claims. In November 2016, Great Bear nearly doubled its position in the Red Lake Mining District with its acquisition of the West Matson Gold Project, an on-strike extension of Pure Gold's high-grade Matson project. Between the two projects and recent land acquisitions, Great Bear now has an agreement in place to control 13,000 hectares of respective greenstone belts. Recent drill results in the Hinge Zone include as high as 1,602.73 grams per ton of gold. I'm speaking today with Mr. Taylor at the Metals Investor Forum in Toronto, Canada. Chris, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me here in Toronto.
Hey, Ellis. It's great to be here.
Great to be here with some fantastic news. Between now and a year ago, your company has come a long way. You're one of the biggest stories that everyone's talking about. Tell us about Great Bear.
It actually took nearly 10 years to get us to the point where we're at now. So usually these small companies, people are with them in the month time scale. This is my 9th year with Great Bear. So it took a long time to get the company ready, the projects owned, the financing, the board, everything constructed. 9 years of work to be an overnight success.
That's funny. That's usually the way it is with a quote-unquote overnight success. And I guess your vision must have been big. Your stamina was large, and you had some good science behind it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, my partner Bob Singh and I were both geologists by training. So this is one example of a company where science drove the discovery and reinterpretation of past work on the project was really what led to us finding all the high-grade gold that we're finding today.
Did you anticipate the extent of the high-grade gold?
No, there was no way to do that before we began to drill it. But we did know when we got involved in the property that there was 150 odd drill holes with gold in them over a couple kilometers of area. So that showed us we were in part of a big system. What we didn't know was that there would be so much high-grade gold in that system.
Well, I understand after having dinner with one of your geologists last night that those quote-unquote historic holes were willy-nilly all over the place and nobody really done any horizontal drilling at all.
The work that we did was effectively fixing up some of the historical data, making sure those holes were in the right place, going the right direction. You can imagine that if you're looking at a drill project and some of the holes are mislocated by 300 feet, there's probably some cleanup work to be done.
Much of that drilling was done, I think, in the late 80s. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. Late 80s before modern GPS systems, and the rocks are really magnetic. So in fairness to the guys that were there, different vintages of work over a long time period. So holes were going the wrong direction. They were in the wrong place. Once we cleaned up the data, we saw we had consistent, steeply plunging, high-grade gold zones, much like the other big deposits in Red Lake.
Let's mention some of those grades right now for new listeners to the program.
Well, some of the results that we've drilled recently, I think the highest that we've seen, let's go with the splashy headline numbers, over 50 ounces per ton, so 1,600 grams per ton, just over 100 meters vertically from surface. The drilling that we've done recently in our new Hinge Zone discovery, there's almost 40 holes into that now. About 60% of the drill holes that go into it are hitting over 10 gram per ton gold material at very shallow depths. This is even for the Red Lake District, which is known for high-grade gold. These are exceptional results.
And in that Red Lake District, you have, correct me if I'm wrong, about 9,100 hectares. Is that right?
I believe it's more than that. The Dixie Project by itself is about that size, so our other properties added on to that, it would be larger. So the Dixie property that we're mostly talking about, it's about 25 kilometers long end-to-end, 23 kilometers to be exact.
How far will you step this out? Do you have the resources to do it? All sorts of questions, so I'll just let you go.
Well, what we saw in some of the government data recently, like some of your listeners may be aware that seismic work is done. These are seismic surveys in the oil and gas industry. So they use these vibrating trucks and what have you so they can predict the structures in the ground. Well, the government of Ontario did that over the Red Lake camp, and that work predicted that there'd be 2 locations in the Red Lake district where big structures go down deep in the crust, and these potentially control where the big gold systems are. One of them is at the main Red Lake mine trend, which has a global resource of over 50 50 million ounces of gold and over 30 million ounces of gold produced. The other one is on our property.
What is your plan for the next few years with all this information? Because quite honestly, Chris, I've not heard a story like this.
We are now fully financed to drill for about 2 years uninterrupted with multiple drill rigs without requiring to go back to the market. So what that means is probably very likely a larger volume of drill results, more drill holes, hundreds of drill holes coming out of Great Bear over the next 2-year period. We don't need to finance during that time period to get more money to do it. We have the money, right? That means that there'll be more gold results, presumably, if we continue to be successful coming out of Great Bear. A gold system that goes right to surface about a mile from the road just outside of Red Lake, generating hundreds and hundreds of drill results over the next 2-year period. It should be the kind of story that if anybody is interested in high-grade new gold discoveries, this should at least be on the radar screen.
Well, it sort of makes other stories a little bit less relevant. Some other stories, at any rate. We're not going to rain on anyone's parade in the sector, but after this, I mean, what's next? And obviously, Rob McEwen has gotten involved. He didn't hesitate.
Rob has made a bit of money in the Red Lake District before. He was obviously instrumental in the Gold Corp discovery of the high-grade zone, this underground zone. We have maps. If anybody's interested, they can go to our website, www.greatbearresources.ca. They can go to that website and you'll see maps and presentations of our data. One of the key points that we show is that the high-grade zone discovery at Gold Corp's mine has the same geographic footprint as the discovery that we're looking at on our Dixie property right now. The same size of footprint, the same types of distributions of gold. It's folded rocks, gold on each side of the fold, and gold concentrated around the middle. At the main mine, at over a mile vertical depth, they made a big discovery that brought Gold Corp from hundreds of millions of market cap to, I think their peak was $37 billion of market cap as a company. And they built that value off of acquisitions, mining various projects, but the core of it was always this high-grade zone that was being mined at great depths in the Red Lake District. What we have found is something that looks very similar in terms of the geology and the way the gold is distributed, but ours is right at the surface. So ours goes right to the surface. So this is why Great Bear has been exciting to many people, because we see that we have the potential for a big high-grade gold system, and we're drilling now to prove it.
Now, Gold Corp is divesting, probably, we don't know this for a fact, but they're most likely divesting in other parts of the world with their recent merger with Newmont, and there's a lot of consolidation going on right now. You're not a producer, correct?
No, not yet, no.
Oh, not yet. So there is a plan to go into production with you and this company specifically?
There could be. I mean, as a junior mining exploration company, you always have to be ready. My background is in production mining. I used to work for a producing copper gold company. So we put, for instance, a high-grade gold project into production in Nevada. That's called Sterling. It was recently sold to Coeur Mining just last year. So that's a project I was involved with for a long time. It's generally a different set of personnel that you need to produce and to mine than it is to explore, right? They're overlapping skill sets, but they're not the same. So with this company, what we have is a very exciting discovery on our hands. I'm not aware of other companies in recent history that have made this kind of discovery and have not gone into some sort of transactional event with a bigger producer. So that's a possible outcome for us, but obviously we have to be ready long term to credibly advance the project through all the economic studies and other stages that it needs in order to get it into mining. So we're going to cover all of the bases that we can.
I know you turned down some semi-ridiculous offers about a year ago. Are you going to continue to turn down offers until you fully explore what you've got?
Well, what we see now is, in our view, and remember, you're talking to an extremely biased source of information here, right? You're talking to somebody who thinks we have one of the best new gold discoveries in the world right now. So if that's the case, we currently have done well over the last year. We've gone from about a $4 million market cap to a $130 million market cap, Canadian dollars. But in the context of other discoveries like this, historically, we are very, very small still. So our job is to take the drill rig and show people exactly how big this system can be. We don't know yet, but if it's as big as what we think it is and what it looks like, it should be quite a bit more valuable than what's being attributed to the company right now.
And you've done a great job. Your team has done a great job of managing the share structure.
Yes, that's extremely important for us. So there's always a temptation with mineral exploration companies to take money from any source that you can get it, right? So what that means is you end up taking back the shares from every source that you gave it to. In a company like Great Bear, management are significant shareholders. Rob McEwen recently put in $6 million into the company. When he did that, management put in $1.5 million alongside him. That was at $1.45 quite recently. So we put our money where our mouth is, and that's what we want to see. We want to benefit as shareholders, not just as paid management of the company.
Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me today on the program here in Toronto. I look forward to future conversations down the road.
Thanks very much, Ellis. Anytime.
I've been speaking with Chris Taylor, the president and CEO of Great Bear Resources, trading as GBR on the TSX Venture Exchange and as GTBDF in the U.S. Find the Great Bear logo on our website, ellismartinreport.com, and click through to their website for more information. I'm Ellis Martin.